Hi and hello, and if it's fitting, good morning. I'm Fred Slow. That is Saleh Taylor, and this is Going Over, the weekly terrestrial and digital and I guess also spiritual. I don't know where that came from.
We're
A pro
everywhere.
wrestling talk show based out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Big thank you to 95.9 FM and AM 610, The Sports Animal, for hosting your boys each and every single Saturday morning. Also, Saleh Taylor, thank you to the world for embracing us.
We appreciate you. We thank you for letting us have space, and you know, we're having fun with this.
This year in review is going to need better energy from you, Saleh, because it's 2023 in the books. 2024 is right around the corner, and your Islander peace and love for all foe, Bob Marley, wrong side of the America's pan Asian all life needs to up. You got to reach my level here, Saleh.
Here we go. We are here. We are grateful. We are thanking you. I'm here.
We're on the live stream at the time of the recording. Big thank you to everyone who joins us on that, including Duke City Warriors, who is, you are aware, Saleh, a gigantic fan of Duke City Championship Wrestling. They put out a fun fan poll the other day, selecting the greatest wrestlers in Duke City Championship Wrestling for the year, also support staff. They just did a really fun job of celebrating them, but featuring like faces of the year, which Mr. Happy, I believe, is the winner, ref of the year, Kyle. There was a whole bunch of cool stuff there. So you can find Duke City Warriors on social media, primarily Facebook, and you can follow Duke City Championship Wrestling updates. Okay, Saleh. 2023 was a banger of a year in the world of pro wrestling. Obviously, for us personally, Duke City Championship Wrestling starting off here in Albuquerque. We had our May show, which went on to be just now a phenomenon here in town. We're sold out seat-wise for the show on December the 30th. If you're listening to us terrestrially, that's tonight. That's tonight. If you're listening to us pre-recorded, it was December the 30th. Standing room only remains for Duke City Championship Wrestling at the historic El Rey Theater. We're going to bring in 2024 with a bang, no doubt in my mind. It's going to be just so much fun, and it's going to have so much fellowship. But we wouldn't have got here without 2023. And let's go over 2023, Saleh. Let's look back and talk about the world of wrestling as it was. Before we hit them chronologically, are there any highlights for you in 2023, Saleh? Anything in your pro wrestling fandom life or career that really jumped out?
I'd say it started with Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble this year was just a really great way to start this off. I want to say, excuse me, this was the end of the reality era of WWE.
Oh, okay.
Era, and we're walking into a renaissance type of thing, transitional thing, but like it's a beaut on what's been going on. One of the first things, my first time seeing Logan Paul in action, and that spot he did with Ricochet when they both jumped from rope to rope, meeting in the middle, colliding. That right there helps set the tone of like this year's different. This year's cool. As you know, a lot of people don't know this. I grew up in the business, but like it was just one of those things where I kind of not really fell off. I'll just check in and see what's going on, who the big players are, who the upcoming players are. And this year was just one of those years where I just became hooked again.
Yeah, I love
watching the competition between all the bigger promotions companies, and then more importantly, my algorithm on my YouTube was just like, hey, did you know NWA Power Hours back? Hey, did you know TNA? Now it's TNA again. Is doing some stuff, and then hey, PCW, GCW, MLW, the online presence and the new online territory leagues that's going on.
The return to normality. Obviously not just my neighborhood, not just your neighborhood, but the entire world affected by COVID-19 in 2020. And the 2-3 now almost 4 years it's taken to kind of revitalize the industry, because it was hard. It was hard. Yeah. This is we own Duke City Championship Wrestling. Duke City Championship Wrestling, we're figuring it out money wise, but it takes a lot of it to make this thing happen. And we're fortunate to bring in a lot, but we spend it on what we're doing, and not can all organizations do that. And now that we're in a point where people are revitalizing it and reinvigorating it and re-energizing it.
Yes.
It's back. Pro wrestling is back at the fullest. You and I went to Survivor Series, and I guess that's November. It's always that Saturday after Thanksgiving. And we go to Survivor Series on that Saturday. We end up seeing a indie show in Chicago the following night, because they're back.
IPW.
Yeah, they were Ileana Professional Wrestling. It was incredibly fun. We had a bunch of laughs with it.
It's so much fun.
I battled. My father was battling some cancer stuff this year. I had to travel back to my hometown of St. Louis, Missouri, a couple times. He was sleeping 20 hours a day, so I had some time, and I went and saw some promotions in St. Louis while I was out there. Obviously, here in Albuquerque, we have what we're doing, and if we wanted to travel a little bit of time, Lubbock and Amarillo and south of Denver and west of Phoenix, and there's stuff going on in El Paso. There's just a world of pro wrestling that is back, and it is functioning, and it is wonderful, and it is beautiful. And I think the headline of the year for me, Saleh, if I was going to pick one, is the dismissal, the removal, the absence of Vince McMahon in the world of WWE. It's been all I've known. I'm 39 years old, and I've been in love with the world of pro wrestling for 35 of those 39 years. And all I've known is the world of pro wrestling with Vince McMahon. And for he to no longer be there, and for the leadership to change, and I work alongside WWE pretty regularly with my radio job that I also have outside of Duke City Championship Wrestling, and the access is different. Like the comfortability is different. Like how they're telling stories and utilizing not just the 3-hour time slot on Mondays or the 2-hour time slots on what used to be Tuesdays, then Thursdays, now Fridays with SmackDown. The way that WWE is creating a 360 product and have just penetrated every aspect of entertainment, it's incredible to me. And it's the stories they're not telling too. It's the what's old girl's name, Sasha Banks, who's not
Monet.
Mercedes Monet, and how she's in Disney Plus shows, and how all your biggest actors and celebrities, and The Rock is back, and John Cena because of the writer's strike, and just being able to just fully collapse like the walls, the quote unquote forbidden doors that existed. Is, if you remember earlier in the year, maybe one of the biggest names, Shinsuke Nakamura, goes and faces, the great Muda, and that was in the
retirement. Noah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, wow. So much.
Yeah, they're allowing the world of pro wrestling to exist, and it's incredible. And let's catch up on the live chat real quick. DCCW is doing a good job of improving the product. Always evolving is a key, in my opinion. That's really kind from friend of Duke City Championship Wrestling, Carlos. And, that's, and we have improvements at the next one. We have the show tonight, if you're listening terrestrially, or December the 30th, if you're tuning in via the podcast. Thank you, by the way, everyone who subscribes, share those 5-star reviews. They mean the world to us. But we do have some fun innovation. It's not going to look the way it's looked every time. And I think that's a big deal. Saleh, do you think a bigger deal in the world of 2023 wrestling was the transition away from Vince McMahon? Do you see another aspect in the world of pro wrestling in 2023 that was kind of an umbrella understanding?
Well, you have the end of the McMahon era, and the buyout was a TKO. The entire business from that has been transitional. And it's been it's been insane.
It's incredible. I went to WrestleMania. I went to all Big Four events this year. I went to Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series.
Yes.
The theater that is WrestleMania, right? The 2-day spectacle, the 160,000 fans in attendance. I was fortunate to be 2 of those numbers. The world of pro wrestling on the biggest stage, the brightest lights, the biggest platform, the world talking about it, reporters from all over the entirety of this planet. And then as we sit here in December, where there's no pay-per-view, but there's a Maxwell Jacob Freeman funded A24 art house film about the Von Erichs and the world of pro wrestling, and just how you can so drastically differently tell the story that is pro wrestling, with everything that you consider like the carny life that was pro wrestling, all the way down to the art house, and there's only certain words we can use on air, but mind game that was Iron Claw. It is, it's just in my opinion, the best means for storytelling. And I think 2023 took advantage of that.
So, you have, I've said it again, and I'll keep saying it. This was like a renaissance year. You didn't just have the WWE transition from Vince to Paul Levesque, formerly known as Triple H. Also, do Japan, do the new president, Hiroshi Tanahashi. official retirement of the Great Muta. There is this beautiful thing where, like, all right, we're not necessarily doing away with the old. We're letting you know once more what it was, with the release of the Iron Claw, showing what has gone into the
Yeah.
product from what it was, and then now we're looking into this new venture, this new thing, like DCCW. We are honoring a lot of the old ways and the traditions, and we're also walking into this new venture, this new landscape on how it
Yeah.
is that we can continue the traditions, but also
Well, and
make it our own.
hyper local for the Albuquerque audience, which again, we're here terrestrially. Friend of Duke City Championship Wrestling, Carlos, is saying, quote, in the past, Destiny based in Albuquerque did bring in some former WWE, WCW, ECW, etc. stars. There's a lot of really popular and good indie stars as well that you'd like to see in DCCW. And Destiny Wrestling is interesting. Destiny Wrestling predated Duke City Championship Wrestling. I think it was around for 13 years, maybe a baker's dozen of years. And they did a really good job. They didn't run monthly like we did. They did every couple months, quarterly kind of thing.
Quarterly
And
thing,
the guys that were in leadership there, I've met a handful of them. They're all incredibly nice. But I think they're a part of the story of pro wrestling in Albuquerque. I think that they're important and they have value. In 2024, I promise you this: if it's friend of Duke City Championship Wrestling, Carlos, if it's you, Saleh, if it's me, I'm promising everyone that is listening to this that they, and names like Mike London and names like historically significant here in Albuquerque, the Romeros, we are going to be able to celebrate them with Duke City Championship Wrestling. We'll make a conscious effort, and we will definitely pay tribute to where it is due, because I think that's what 2024 is going to be. It's going to be a collaboration of past ideas and future opportunities. And we go on to talk about some of the indie stars that are surrounding Duke City Championship Wrestling and the indie scene. They are out there and they reach out to us, and when the time is fitting, we'll make the opportunity for them. But how fortunate we are to have so much talent right here in the New Mexico and Texas area, and how fortunate we are to have these individuals come together and just wrestle and tell good stories and just have a lot of fun. It's been a tremendous start to a promotion that is only now, I think we put our LLC together in like March. It's like it's not been a full year of existence. So it's been really incredible and a really fun journey. And I don't just think that's Duke City Championship Wrestling, Sally. I think that's all of pro wrestling is doing a really good job of recognizing the names and the organizations that allowed all these ships to rise in the tide to one place. And I think Iron Claw and the Von Erichs, is a really good example of talking about maybe those families, because they're not the McMahons, they're not the Flairs, they're not the Rhodes, they're not the Harts, but then they're the Von Erichs, and then they're that group of names. And I think hardly the races, I think there's a group of names that exist in that world. Ortons,
they I love how you were touching on this, because there's a legacy here, and we are our fans whom we love and we appreciate. They're not idiots. They know that there was another organization before us, and they're more than happy to remind us. And we are really aware, because a lot of the guys we work with worked in Destiny. My first experience with Hobo Hank was I went to a Destiny show, and like we know, and I'm grateful, because they laid down a beautiful groundwork. And just like how the generations before us of the legacy of all these other families, the Anoa'is, the McMahons, the Harts, I love how you said this. This next year could be a beautiful year of collaboration. This year was a great year of just relaying a firm foundation to build off of. And I'm really excited to see what's going to come this next year, not just for DCCW, but just for pro wrestling in general, because it's a great time to be a fan again. Even more
from
so.
the live chat, and also, and we say this every time, thank you to everyone who takes advantage of the social media. It means the world to us. That's what this entity is, right? It's pro wrestling once a month, but it's us being able to create this content weekly and bi-weekly, often with the real show, and connect with the friends of Duke City Championship Wrestling, and with any luck, some fans of me on Two Men On Monday through Friday, 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. Our friend of Duke City Championship Wrestling, Carlos, goes on to say, looking forward to many mind-blowing storylines and the turns of twist along the way. DWO, which is Destiny Wrestling Organization, they had some really good and deep storylines too. And soon, and it's going to take a time, because we have a new audience here. There's a new audience for Duke City Championship Wrestling. There's 8, 9, 10, and 11-year-old kid who's never been to pro wrestling event who's at our event, where we have to quote unquote smarten them up to some of the history of this. And we will. Yeah, we'll do callbacks. We'll reach into that little bag and that'll be a lot of fun for us. We're gonna celebrate and do really well with that. With that said, Sully, the moving forward, I wanted to touch slightly on the Nakamura and the Great Muta, because Shinsuke, obviously just such a significant name in the world of Japanese wrestling. The Great Muta, which no one would do the spit thing. Like the spit thing wouldn't exist without him.
Yeah.
The mist. Kind of, I almost want to say revolutionary, because you think back to guys who did go to Japan while under WWE contract and wrestle, and the list is short, and that list is really big names. That's Hulk Hogan's, that's Brock Lesnar shortly. That's really big names. And for Shinsuke to be in that tier, recognizing his history in Japan, not trying to downplay that, that's an incredible, I think, acknowledgement from WWE to allow him to celebrate the sport greater than just the company that's WWE.
I believe it was also there's like a sense of service, because Muta was one of the people that trained Shinsuke.
Mm-hmm.
So like he had to go, and either that wasn't necessarily passing the torch match. That was just a great, let's get one more banger in this. And yeah, for them to let Shinsuke go out there and have that match, especially when Vince was still in control, like that still blows my mind. And then also knowing that there were other people from other promotions at that show, and the Vince still allowed that. But that's still a great match to watch. The Great Mist is one of my favorite things to watch. Great Muta, Tajiri he had a great Mist as well. But I was just, it's funny that you bring up that match. I totally forgot that was this year, but I remember just watching that match again. I was like, this is a fun, harsh match. And those, oof.
Well, let's dive, because obviously we're at the break. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the year in review whenever we get back. It's Saleh Taylor. I am Fabulous Freddie Fame. Everyone on the radio knows me as Fred Slow. And we'll be back with more pro wrestling talk after this. It's going over on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal. Back on the program. Welcome back if you're here terrestrially. Welcome back to the podcast if you're joining us digitally. Either way, welcome.
Hello. Welcome. Hellos. Sorry, I was still on the island time for a second.
I noticed. Jumping chronologically through the year, Rhea Ripley and Cody Rhodes win at the Royal Rumble. That was in San Antonio. That was a banger of a trip for me. A little bit, the finish was stolen as far as notoriety because of the tremendous bloodline storytelling, all the stuff going on with Sami Zayn at the time, all the stuff going on with the Usos. I was there. My co-host at the time, Robert Gibson, and my current co-host, Van Nunley, we were all there together. Fun side note to the story, I left immediately from there and went to Cancun. I was like, I'm taking a break from life. We went to San Antonio, went to the Royal Rumble, and then we have to go to the Super Bowl. I go to the Super Bowl every year. And we had to go immediately to the Super Bowl in 1 week. So I say to Van and Robert, I say, hey, I'm not going back to Albuquerque. I'm going to go to Cancun for a week. And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, no, this is my real plan. This is love the Royal Rumble, had so much fun down to Albuquerque down to Cancun. And I'm on the plane, Saleh, going to Cancun from San Antonio. And I'm trying to talk to people about the Royal Rumble. I'm like, that thing was crazy, right? That was best finish, I think, to a Royal Rumble I had ever saw, which was the betrayal of the bloodline, which was Sami Zayn taking the chair to Roman Reigns. And by the way, he takes the chair shot better than Roman Reigns.
That moment. I lost my mind when I saw that. Just, that moment, it's beautiful because they let that moment just ring, man. Certain things you just can't rush, and I'm glad that it was a premium live event, because if it was anything else, it'd have we have 90 more seconds, and you got to, the thing that's beautiful about that storyline, or that part of the storyline, was there's the nuances in there, and I'm really glad to see the growth of Roman Reigns, where he's actually able to do a lot of the things that's needed to do. But selling that chair shot is one of the most beautiful things ever.
It was so important, and obviously we're going to talk on about the bloodline, and it's become possibly the best story in the history of WWE. I think maybe it's possibly one of the best stories in the history of pro wrestling. A lot of people talk about the NWO. A lot of people talk about Aces and Eights. A lot of people talk about DX. I'm going to tell you, Bloodline is as good as anything that's ever happened. But let's make sure we highlight at the Royal Rumble. Gunther was in there for like an hour. Like that was like
that was
that is a machine.
That was, I'd say, Gunther's official introduction to the regular fan.
Yeah,
like for those who are just casually watching, because Rumble's one of the big four. We got Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, Survivor Series, and SummerSlam, and people were just casually coming back in. A lot of people for the first time saw Gunther work, and man, that was like, okay, this dude is dope.
Yeah. Well, and I think that was the consensus, right? Like in the Intercontinental run, I think has a lot more validity because of his success at the Rumble. But that's not the story of the Rumble, right? The story of the Rumble is Cody Rhodes, continuing the story, which he goes on, eventually to lose at WrestleMania to Roman Reigns. And that's, probably just the match of the year regardless. But he goes on to lose at Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. But there was a brief moment there from the end of January to probably the first week of April where Sami Zayn kind of had the top spot in WWE. And that was, I think, as surprised as I had ever been in my fandom of the industry that Sami Zayn, by the ugly Sami Zayn with the hair and the beard, not even super handsome Sami Zayn that like came up years ago and would dive through the middle ropes. Not that dude. I'm talking like goofy Zayn was at the top of the card. And I'm going as a fan, like, how did this dude do this? Like I was blown away.
The beauty of watching everyone evolve from last year into this year was, I think we saw a little bit more of the wrestlers just be more of themselves. That's got to be one of the most beautiful things to see develop, and we're seeing more of that, even more so this year. So having everyone being seen more, everyone feel more comfortable, not just in the character, but because they're expressing more of themselves. And it's a beautiful thing, man. It's beautiful.
Well, an incredible job, I think, too, because there was a point in time when not necessarily did that company allow the performer that the audience so very wanted to have that spot. They were for so long set on a handful of guys. And by the way, they have the script down. Like, I'm not trying to discriminate the script, but how fortunate I think the audience was to catch that in a bottle in 2023. And then to ride that to WrestleMania and have that main event with the Usos and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, which is so fitting and fun and perfect. And then the next night, be able to hit on Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. And how incredible to me that all of these stories, as we talk about the Usos or Sami Zayn or Cody Rhodes or whatever, the linchpin in all of this is that these are all Roman Reigns stories. Like Roman Reigns doesn't wrestle every night. Roman Reigns is not on TV every day, but he is the standard by which all others are judged. And because he's there performing and elevating other people to his level, the rub he gives so consistently and regularly to others is a little bit like the kiss of success in the WWE, because Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, the Usos, Kevin Owens, I could run the list. Yeah. These guys found success in 2023 because they had opportunity to be adjacent to he in storytelling. And it is the most incredible thing I think I've seen from one performer in my fandom of this industry.
Well, that's one of the biggest things about the business. You have to give back if you want to continue, if you want to solidify your place in this. The business will give you so much, but more, and also will take away a lot. But for those who are lucky enough to be part of the ones where it's given to you a lot, you got to give back and you got to work towards the next one. As much as like people are in the light, you got to start thinking about who's next. How can we start setting them up? And hopefully you'll have like a long-term storyline that they can be elevated and they could be brought up and share that spotlight, because there's plenty of room for everyone,
Well, and interesting here, friend of the broadcast, Duke City Warriors, says They wish that they had made Sami Zayn the top champion. He poured his heart in the company for many years. Here's why I'm glad they didn't. Because friend of this broadcast, Duke City Championship Wrestling, has that emotion. And that emotion of being disappointed, let down, interested, whatever, that's a real emotion. That counts to me. I don't tune in to only be satisfied. I tune in to be stimulated. And for them to not give it to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, to not give it to Sami Zayn at Fastlane, to not give in, really, is to me just incredibly warming, because I'm now every form of emotion as it relates to pro wrestling. And I don't necessarily know if there's a ton of mediums that can do that. This one does it for me.
Yeah, man. So you hit that. Yeah, you know that. I love that. The goal always is and always has been and always will be is we need you to react.
Yeah.
We need you to react. Whether if it's a cheer or a jeer, we need you to react, because that, as if you're not reacting, that means we're dead in the water.
Yeah, I agree. And that's with everyone. Friend of the broadcast, Ray Basura, who is just a world of talent in himself. He made a name performing here in the New Mexico area for some time, worked into Texas, just a dude who can be a dude. His opinion is an authority when it comes to the world of pro wrestling, and he says he believes he'll see 2 scoops at a WWE Performance Center soon, no doubt in his mind. He's talking about Tommy Test, Tommy 2 Scoops, who performs for us. And
2 scoops?
Yes, the answer is yes. You know, he's of that talent. And you know, I had that correspondence with WWE regularly, and they're fully aware of Duke City Championship Wrestling. There's, you know, we're not flying under a radar here. And whenever names do come up, there's a couple names that come up, and Tommy 2 Scoops is one of those names. You know, he's an incredibly talented dude. I think he's going to have the best 2024 of any performer on the Duke City Championship Wrestling roster. I think that's a fact.
He's just he just keeps getting better.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fun, and seeing someone like him who has such a beautiful connection with the audience, with our fans, with any fans actually watching. We've seen some of his work in Phoenix too, man. The man just knows how to connect. He knows how to deliver.
Yeah,
and you know, like he's just
incredibly good. Incredibly good.
So good.
Really as we circle back to the year in review, WWE, as you recall, merged with Endeavor to form TKO. And this was interesting because I think there's a large fan base of pro wrestler who, and by the way, if you're not familiar with all these terms, if you're listening terrestrially, driving around town, and you're, you know, running your kids to soccer practice or whatever, these are all like very much understood in the world of pro wrestling. But Endeavor was the UFC stuff, the new company's TKO. But what it is, it's an opportunity for a really smart wrestling fan, which is, I don't necessarily know if that's a good term or not. Every really smart wrestling fan now has a new boogeyman over the organization. You know, and for years, it was Vince McMahon in the on TV role of being the authority, and he was the bad guy. Well, now pro wrestling fan can create this weird fallacy of there's a big brother entity that's marionetting the whole thing or whatever. And that's crazy, but they're doing it. And TKO has become the perceived or appointed bad guy in the world of pro wrestling fan. And I think this is only going to benefit WWE further to go.
I just fear that they may fall into the trap of it being the what was that storyline where Michael Cole would get an email notification, and if I have your attention, please, like
the Raw general manager.
Yeah. There is beautiful potential here, because I love the idea of like them having authority figure boogeyman.
Sure.
But like, it doesn't have to be a wrestler. It's a legit shoot of another organization that is now in control, and we will for the first time see WWE at the mercy of another outside presence.
Yeah,
and well, this could be worked really well into a great angle, I'd say.
Well, and they have those two kind of on-screen ones in Adam Pearce for some times now, and now welcome Nick Aldis into the brand. And Nick Aldis, who was NWA champion forever, he was a big part of Cody Rhodes' story when Cody Rhodes went to the independents. He lost his NWA title to Cody Rhodes. There's again just so much rich history in this thing. You know, it's so brilliant. And speaking of Cody Rhodes, him failing to quote unquote finish the story, made that story better than it's ever been.
I
Like if
agree.
he had shown back up from AEW and just beat up everyone and was Cody beats up, you'd have lost me. You would have lost me in the idea that Cody Rhodes is unbeatable and unfallible, and he did the peck or whatever versus Roman Reigns, and you're like, okay, like that sucks or whatever, but he's gonna win at the Royal Rumble and it's preconceived. His loss, his failure, that is the thing that's going to allow him to breathe. And now we talk, projecting in 2024, what could happen with CM Punk, what could happen with all these things. Cody Rhodes will main event WrestleMania this year. Cody Rhodes will wrestle Roman Reigns again in the rematch from last year. And Cody Rhodes will win this year. And it's better as a 2-year story than at a 1-year story. And I thought he not being able to quote unquote finish the story, only extend it, just a brilliancy in storytelling from WWE TKO.
I agree with you on this one. The idea of someone coming in with a lot of momentum and then just steamrolling, it gets old fast, because the thrill of the chase, man, that's what causes people to come in and watch every week. This year has been a really great thing of watching a humanization, or this year and last year especially has been like the humanization of everyone working in the show.
Right.
Them mentioning that, was it when Becky Lynch gave birth, like them mentioning on air she gave birth, she was pregnant, like, oh, she's a person. When last year, when the Hell in a Cell, when Cody Rhodes tore his pec, and he still had a match with the bruised match, and like, hey man, this is a real guy who's trying to fight through this. Triple H giving the company Christmas off, insane. This has been a really beautiful thing where we're so used to seeing these performers, superstars, working on a weekly basis, that we forget they have families at home waiting for them, and they've been leaning in on this more and more actually lately. And I'm really happy to see that the the notion that Cody Rhodes is human. Cody Rhodes can take a loss, and
Yeah.
he has to keep coming back. The humanization, like, he's not just this unstoppable force. He's actually human that can face legit trials and tribulations. And now the question is, what can he do from here?
You're hitting on an interesting point that I want to revisit whenever we get back from the break, because that molding of real life circumstance, real life situation into the storytelling, I think, in my opinion, is the best like homogenous blend that you can create, because pro wrestling is more than pro wrestling.
Yes.
There's so many features of life and existence that are stolen straight out of the Carney handbook that is pro wrestling. And
Yes.
if you identify me as a person who's been successful in the world of pro wrestling in my short time in it, it's only because I've been doing all these Carney tricks for years in wrestling and TV or in radio and TV and all these other walks of my life. So let's do that. We'll come back. We'll talk about the blend in 2023 of the product and the personal, and how we think that makes everything as a whole just a little bit better. You're Saleh Taylor. I'm Fred Slow. This is Going Over on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. Welcome back to the program. Welcome back to Going Over. We're having a banger of an episode today. Final Segi. Saleh, how you feeling, brother?
I'm moving. I'm grooving.
It's been a good one.
Cruising. It's been awesome.
Yeah. Good
I'm
energy. Good conversation. So you're talking a little bit before the break about the Becky Lynch stuff and kind of working some storylines in, and that's why Alexa Bliss isn't currently here. There's all these things going on in the world of pro wrestling. I'm going to say this one, and this is a little heavier, but we're in segment 3. I'm going to say this one though: the passing of Bray Wyatt. The passing of Bray Wyatt this year, and the way the WWE incorporated that into pro wrestling, because was that late August? I mean, and we're talking like a shock. This is a gigantic shock. He had, I saw his last match. His last match was at the Royal Rumble versus a guy who had the breakout year of all guys who could have breakout years, LA Knight. The way that they brought it in and did a tribute, and Terry Funk had passed away at the same time, if you recall. We were doing the show at the time. Just incredible. And I don't know if you saw this, but just the other day, he's on a Legends contract now, and being Bray Wyatt, and his family and his partner JoJo will forever receive, benefits from merchandise and likeness. And 36 years old, man, just wild. And the way that WWE put that into the storyline, I mean, it got me, it got me
Yeah.
emotional.
And you don't really feel much emotion.
No,
No.
I'm not. Well, I'm not an overly emotional guy. You're absolutely correct.
That was I'd say unfortunate way of saying this, but it was one of the smartest moves they made on that, because that you can't not talk about it. You can't not bring that up. And you gotta take a moment and remember
Mhm.
that these are real people, and the things they do affect all, everyone around them. And so that moment, even when with Terry Funk, a lot of people went to Funk University, came from his school, who he trained, or he even helped assist. You still feel the effects of that. You still feel the lack of presence on this. And when a lot of people don't really know this, they're on the road a lot. They miss out the family, they miss out the friends and stuff, and it's crazy.
Mhm. Well, yeah, it's incredibly crazy, and we're seeing here in the live chat how, because if you remember, there was the Uncle Howdy angle, and a lot of people thought that was Bo Dallas, and how Bo Dallas could have continued on that storyline because he's the shoot brother of Bray Wyatt. And Bo Dallas, by the way, in a relationship and shoot with Liv Morgan, who's currently not in the WWE due to some substance abuse stuff. And that world is so wildly intertangled, to where if you were going to bring in a Bo Dallas or do a thing, I don't know how easy it would be to get away from that as the storyline forever. Like, would you be able to graduate Bo Dallas from that to something else? It would be really difficult for me to say yes to that easily, so I think if you do bring he back, Royal Rumble wouldn't be a terrible spot. That was the last place that Bray Wyatt performed. That would be an opportunity to introduce Bo Dallas as Bo Dallas. And if he comes out wearing a Bray Wyatt shirt, or if he comes out with the lantern, or if he, whatever, you know what I mean? If he comes out with Alexa Bliss, like you do anything of that nature, I'm in on that, because you can celebrate instead of continue. And I think there's a lot of smart ways to do that.
I agree. There's more importantly, as a company, there's this fine line where, like, we don't want to capitalize on this like that.
Yeah, I agree.
It seems very cruel. But like, if you were to get blessings from the family and stuff, and they're like, "Hey, man," then you might be onto something. May feel better, may be better. But the idea of you just, oh, there's another possible angle here. No, that's bad. That's bad form right there. And the lessons you've seen from that in the past, when back in the day, was it WCW, when they had an angle on, they're making fun of JR. They had a character named Oklahoma, and the guy was like feigning Bell's palsy. I was like, that's not cool.
Well, and I don't know if you know this about me. I'm a Bell's palsy survivor. Like, I had Bell's palsy, and it was the worst thing that could have happened to me. I only had it for like 6 weeks because I came out of it, but like, your face didn't work. Like my face didn't work. Like, that's and I didn't get the severity of that storyline until I experienced it in my own life. And there's a lot of that. But if you want to, and I think this is a good transition, tell a really good brother on brother story, which you do it with the Usos. Because right now, the Civil War and the bloodline, where Jey Uso has kind of ascended to a top flight certified single star. I'm going to tell you right there, Jimmy Uso could be there too. Jimmy Uso is by design not there yet. Give Jimmy a second, because Jimmy is the Dana Carvey of this Wayne's World that is the bloodline. His facials, his reaction, his disinterest, his feigning, like everything about him as an entertainer is top tier. And we at WrestleMania this year will see the Usos wrestle each other. We'll see that. That will be what they do with the Usos. And it will be incredibly good. And I won't know who to root for. but I know I'm going to get a banger of a banger match. And these dudes are going to tell a story, and they're going to do it because 2023, they were so tremendous to it. I know you have personal relation to them, so I'm going to say this as kindly as possible. If they keep their heads on straight, because they can't do dumb stuff outside the game.
Well said.
I think on the game.
They know now even more so that they have more to lose on this, and so they're really proud of them. They're doing a great job. Watching Jimmy these days, man, has been hilariously amazing and awesome because it's so much fun. And I love his overcommitment when was it the segment that they had the rug in the ring and he was still out. They rolled him out.
Yeah, in the ring.
Got the rug and then rolled him back in the ring and he was still out.
Oh, he's so funny, dude.
He's just having fun.
Yeah. Well, we're kind of getting to the end of our hour here, and as we're approaching it, there's a couple other factions that made really big splashes, and I think the Judgment Day is one.
Judgment Day.
They're the only reason to watch Monday Night right now, aside from CM Punk, and they're a focal point. Rhea Ripley is a bona fide star at this point too. I know I just said that phrasing, so I apologize for using it 2 times in a row. Her and Rey Mysterio's kid are fire. There's not another description for they. Damian Priest and Finn Balor, if you'd asked me in the beginning who were going to be numbers 3 and 4 in this group of 4, I would not have said those two. Like, there's no way. But it's Dom and it's Rhea, and they are tremendous. And that cat that took the RKO off the top of the cage, the young blood, whatever his name is,
JD
McDonough, that dude's a stud too. Like the whole Judgment Day organization is straight fire.
I'd say there's like some good payback because payoff because earlier this year I got to bring it up when they did it was a Backlash in Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
that was one of those
another really good combination of real life and wrestling and allowing that territory to celebrate. Bad Bunny, that's the best pop of the year. Forget CM Punk returning in Survivor Series. Bad Bunny coming out, it cannot be topped.
Hearing the whole crowd just like singing to a song, oh, so beautiful. Damian Priest putting over Bad Bunny and carried him the whole match, did an amazing job taking care of an A-lister like that, and then he's saying no Money in the Bank. And like there's been a beautiful thing when like there's been a little give and take where everyone's been putting in. Judgment Day killing it all this year, and this little mini storyline with R-Truth and them just having fun. That's a great way to just let them like, all right, y'all been carrying the show. Let's give y'all some fun segment because any segment with R-Truth more than likely will go viral.
Yeah,
because that man just knows how to work and they're just having fun.
Wildly entertaining. Speaking of, he's so infuriatingly good at the microphone and wrestling and all of it. You then look at other guys who are also infuriatingly good, like a Logan Paul, who shows up, wins the U.S. title. And then after he wins it, all of his social media posts where he doesn't care about it, and I'm dying. I'm dying laughing as he and what's old boy name? Rey Mysterio, where he's like, Ray, you suck now. I'm Logan Paul, and I'm like, that makes me so mad. I love it.
So good. Get that reaction out of you.
And so he's moved to that top tier level. LA Knight is moved to that top tier level.
LA Knight, man.
Yeah, refusing to acknowledge Roman Reigns because there's only a couple guys who've done that, and everyone who has, Roman Reigns has got even with. The thing that screwed up your life more than anything, the SAG after a strike allowed John Cena to return, allowed The Rock to return. Like there is just so much talent in the pool that WWE can pull from that they don't even utilize them. They let Pat McAfee go to do College Game Day. They don't need him. Like there's other talent. Like hey, what's that good looking cat? The heel on SmackDown. Not Grayson Waller, his tag team buddy, whatever. The really good looking kid. Austin Theory.
Theory.
Like you have these dudes.
He's had a great year too.
Had a great year. What doesn't make this list? Solo Sikoa sending John Cena into oblivion doesn't make this list because that's how good of a year it was.
Great year. Insane
The moment of the year, CM Punk returning, the moment of the year, can barely top this list because the list is so incredibly good. Fire year in the world of professional wrestling, and we spent about 0 moments on AEW, and they also had a fire year.
Great year.
Wrestle Kingdom was fire. The saddest thing in the world, Jay Briscoe passing away. The Brian Danielson, MJF 60-minute Iron Man at Revolution, everything they did in Wembley, the MJF Adam Cole stuff. It's as good as professional wrestling has ever been.
It's been a great year to be a fan. It's a great time to be a fan again.
Great time to be a fan. Big thank you to everyone who takes time with us, obviously, every single week when we do this thing. Big thank you to all the friends of the show who are a part of this. Big thank you to all the supporters of Duke City Championship Wrestling. If you're listening to us on Saturday morning on the 30th, December the 30th, don't forget this night at the historic El Rey Theater. You can come see professional wrestling live and in person. Doors are at 6. Live music by Man High at 6:30. Got a banger of a national anthem. We're going to have so much fun. Then the first bell at 7:30. We go right up until about 10 o'clock. We're going to finish right before 10. And you're going to go home having enjoyed hours upon hours of professional wrestling here in the Duke City. Is there anything we missed, Saleh, on the air before we cut this one loose?
I got to say it again. We love our fans. We appreciate y'all.
No one is going to play Freebird. I need to be very clear on that.
For 30 minutes.
Not going to happen. Not at a Duke City Championship Wrestling event. For Saleh Taylor, for myself, Fred Slow, for everyone who took the time with us, thank you, 2023. You were tremendous to us professionally. We are excited for 2024. Good job, everyone. GG.
Good job, everyone. Thank you.
Good job, buddy. So we got like 1 minute here where we can go through just on the live stream because that's obviously all for the radio. Man High featuring Sale, the Saleh, that's not going to happen.
Man High for Sale.
That's we need some new champions. I don't think we need new champions. I think everyone is doing really well. WWE, there's too many titles in AEW. We didn't talk about that. I don't understand. I'm lost in them. Turbo Tony points out Randy Orton catching JD McDonough on that RKO. That thing was crazy.
Man, I can't say this enough, man. We were there live.
Yeah, it was crazy.
When Randy's music hit, bro.
So good.
My ears were ringing for like a week.
Well, I grew up in St. Louis where Randy Orton is like on a different level. It's hard to explain Randy Orton in St. Louis and Randy Orton to the rest of the world because I think he's perceived at such a high level everywhere else in the world. It's just amplified that much in St. Louis. And being in Chicago, and we were there and there was a bunch of my old St. Louis radio buddies there.
Yeah,
and it was
awesome.
and we were just rolling and laughing.
I felt like you were the mayor for a moment because you're like, hey, Fred. Fred.
Like, I was like, yeah, at WWE.
Am I with someone? Am I with someone? Am I?
I tell you, isn't it wild how kind everyone is to me? Like I don't.
And not me.
Get it? They don't know you yet. Like they
don't give a damn about me, bro.
I'm like, this is my co Saleh Taylor, and they're like, oh wow,
okay.
They're like, does he know a good barber? Like, what's the problem over here? I'm like, no, he's like that. He doesn't want to get confused with Native American, so he just wears it like that.
Or Mexican, he just wears.
Or Mexican,
yeah.
Well, I'm talking like we talk to someone from the Midwest, right? And they're like Native American. What's that? Like, oh god damn it! Forget where we're at. And I went to school on the West Coast, so it's like the number of the number of Pan-Asian, Polynesian, Islander, American, not American in my life has been high. I've been fortunate to have a diverse friend group. So I meet you, and it's just whatever. We can talk about Mushubi. Like, I don't care. Like, I introduce you to like Midwest people, and they just like want to touch your skin.
Bro,
I'm like, don't touch me.
Is that your real hair? Like, yeah. Yeah.
And, it's so funny.
I still love that bartender that hated me, man. That was like,
that was the best.
Midwest hospitality is different, bro.
I'm trying to explain to Saleh, like, I'm like, she doesn't want to be your friend. She just wants to support you.
She does not.
She don't give a stuff about you.
Like, she don't, man.
Well, and she doesn't know how to work you. Like, we're in Chicago. If Turbo Tony's with us, if Black Turbo Tony walked in with us, she knows exactly how to work Turbo Tony. Like, she knows how to flirt. She knows how to get the tip. She already knows what drink he wants before he sits down. Your Polynesian ass walks in and she's like, I don't know what to do here. I'm just gonna give up. Like, this is not my thing.
First question, what and why? Actually, that's probably like what was going through her head. And I'm like, hi, how you doing? Welcome. My name is Son, blah blah blah.
Turbo Tony's in the chat. He's like,
yo,
yeah. He's like, yeah, that tracks.
For real. Turbo, next trip, you're coming, bro. You're my buffer to whatever region we're in, because they'll know how to react to you and Fred.
Turbo Tony sits down and on the counter she just puts a Colt 45 and 2 zigzags. And he's like, okay. He's like, thanks. He's like,
and then for me, like, they're looking at me either like pineapple or fry bread. It's like, what do you want?
Literally, Gang just said that. I'm so
real. Y'all got to go on a road trip, or we got to do something with Fred on the road, because it's just fun.
I hate it. I hate being on the road.
It's so much fun because he hates it so much.
I do, and no one, like, we're at a. I don't know if this will relate. Well, you didn't come to my birthday. Gabe came to my birthday party. You didn't come. I don't think
you didn't invite me, man.
No, of course I did not. I don't invite anyone to stuff. That's all Van. So when we're out of town, like when I'm in another city, I'm not like Fred on the radio. I'm not Fred, the wrestling promoter. I'm just like the dude who's got a little bit of coin who can get messed up at a bar. And like I go and I get messed up at a bar, and all these people are like, "You're hilarious. You're so funny." I'm like, I know you've never heard any of these jokes before. Like, I'm using all of my best jokes right now in this one situation. You idiots. Like, it's my whole thing.
It's so funny. Oh man. I'm just like sitting in the back getting my butt kicked on darts. And like,
well, that's so funny too, right? Because these guys are like, we're gonna stop you at darts. Like, and I'm like, watch how many drinks I'm gonna put in you. No, you're not. Like, just here you go.
I was like, that's not my game. If you guys want to like have a friendly fight, yeah, let's have, I'll go to you on that, man.
Yeah,
a little friendly combat.
You guys want to wrestle to the ground? Do you want to do that?
Yeah, I got you all day. Darts.
That's so funny.
I'm
gonna cut up the podcast. I'm gonna put it on. We'll be on air obviously tomorrow at what are we on? 9 a.m. 9 a.m. on Saturdays.
9 a.m.
So that'll be on tomorrow. That'll go really well. What time you get in at the venue tomorrow?
What time would you like me there? I have another gig, and then right after that, I'm coming straight to the.
Okay. I know we got a production meeting at 3, and then we got an all call at 4. And then whatever. So if you're there by then, awesome. If not, I'll catch you up. The card changed a little bit, so I'll get that all to you off the air. So,
copy.
So everything is golden. Everything's super golden. The only thing that's gonna suck is the live music. That's the only thing that ever sucks. So it's not like we're gonna have any problems.
Man, hi. It's an interesting duck.
Play free.
He's more of a swan. Fred's more of a swan.
I had a person reach out to me last night. They were like, we need some help with Comic-Con. We need some help with some stuff, right? So this person reaches out and Gabe's like, I know that person. I'm going to call him right now. And I go, why? Why are you going to call them right now? I'll just handle it. Like, this is the part I do. I do that part.
But bruh, it's okay. It's okay.
Oh, this is all right. So this is so funny. So Turbo Tony says, and I don't want to spoil it on air, who's doing the anthem, but Valeria Garcia is doing the anthem. She does that. It's all right. Hold on. I'm gonna mess it up. I get messed up every day. It's karaoke, but it's Albuquerque karaoke. It's Albu karaoke. I can't do it right. But anyways,
I'm loving watching this though.
It's Ray Basura's lady. And yeah, so she's gonna come out and do it, and it's gonna be super good. It's gonna be so much fun. So all right, I'm gonna put this up. I'll catch you later.
Thank you so much. See y'all.
Love you, brother.
Love you, brother.